We've all heard the phrase, know thy enemy, but have you ever wondered where it came from? Well, my friends, it's time to dive into the world of Sun Tzu, an ancient Chinese military strategist and philosopher whose ideas have transcended centuries and continue to shape modern warfare. Born around 544 BC in the ancient Chinese state of Qi, Sun Tzu was a brilliant military strategist and philosopher whose teachings and ideas transcended his era to become eternally influential. While little is definitively known about his life and career, the impact of his seminal work, The Art of War, has echoed through the centuries. Can you imagine a time when battles were fought with swords, spears, and simple cavalry charges? When the strength of an army depended more on tactics, discipline, and cunning, rather than overwhelming firepower? This was the harsh reality of ancient warfare that Sun Tzu had to master. In those days, the ability to mislead and deceive your enemy could mean the difference between glorious victory or inglorious defeat on the battlefield. Terrain, weather, information. Every variable had to be precisely calculated and exploited. It was this unforgiving landscape of conflict that forged Sun Tzu's revolutionary insights into strategy and psychological warfare. Though only a handful of biographical details about the man have been preserved, his teachings quickly elevated him to legendary status within Chinese military circles. Successive dynasties studied and applied his philosophies, which emphasized preparedness, terrain analysis, deception, cosmic timing, and ultimately, the overarching importance of outwitting your opponent mentally before engaging them physically. Sun Tzu offered a way to defeat the enemy without resorting to costly and bloody frontal assault through superior strategy. His ideas essentially reframed military conflict into an enormous game of mental chess between opposing commanders. Some historians theorize that Sun Tzu may have actually been a phenomenal combatant himself in his era, perhaps even an ingenious battlefield commander whose victories allowed his ideas to gain wide acceptance. After all, as the master himself wrote, what is of supreme importance in war is to attack the enemy's strategy. While his own life story remains cloaked in mystery across the centuries, Sun Tzu's timeless ideas and philosophies ensured his status as one of history's most legendary and transcendent military strategists. His revolutionary concepts on deception, psychological warfare, and mental tenacity in conflict changed the very nature of warfare itself. When one explores the fountain of military strategy and battlefield philosophy, all paths inevitably lead back to Sun Tzu's masterwork, The Art of War. This relatively compact ancient treatise contains the distilled wisdom and core principles that have guided commanders and nations through centuries of conflict. Written in the 5th century BC, The Art of War is a remarkably accessible work comprised of 13 chapters and around 6,000 Chinese characters. Yet contained within its modest pages are profoundly influential teachings on strategy, tactics, logistics, preparation, leadership, and the fundamental psychology of warfare itself. Part of the work's enduring appeal is its universality. While wrote from the perspective of ancient Chinese warfare and politics, Sun Tzu's concepts are brilliantly analytical, yet free of cultural barriers. His focuses on cultivating strategic advantages, understanding the battlefield environment, deceiving the enemy, and carefully managing conflicts have proven applicable across all theaters and eras. Over the centuries, the art of war has been continually reinterpreted, studied, and applied by military leaders and theorists globally. Even in modern times, his teachings on intelligence gathering, flexibility, and psychological preparedness ring just as true. Some have gone so far as to argue that the art of war transcends just military applications. Many modern business executives and sports coaches have found profound insights within Sun Tzu's philosophies on competition, strategic positioning, and resources management. His core principles have been extrapolated into realms far beyond the ancient Chinese battlefield. Whether read from the viewpoint of military historian, business leader, or student of strategy, The Art of War stands as one of the most important and transformative works ever written on the concepts of conflict and strategy. Its impact has reverberated across cultures, generations, and disciplines in a way few other texts can match. At the core of Sun Tzu's revolutionary teachings were several fundamental tenets that he considered essential for success on the battlefield. Chief among them was the art of deception, the ability to mislead and misdirect your opponent in order to seize tactical advantage. All warfare is based on deception, Sun Tzu famously stated, in explaining how cunning and subterfuge were paramount in military strategy. He outlined multiple tactics for achieving this, from spreading disinformation to deploying false flags and disguised troop movements. The general who could most believably mask their true intentions and capabilities held the ultimate high ground, he argued. But deception alone was insufficient without two other crucial elements: superior positioning and comprehensive knowledge of the enemy. Sun Tzu devoted extensive writings to the importance of terrain, weather conditions, logistics, and the strategic positioning of forces. A commander that controlled the high ground had shorter supply lines, or could attack from an unexpected direction, drastically increased their chances of victory on the battlefield. Perhaps Sun Tzu's most lasting piece of wisdom, however, was his emphasis on deeply understanding your opposition's forces. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles, he wrote, stressing the criticality of superior intelligence gathering and analysis. To Sun Tzu, any military campaign was destined to fail without first meticulously studying the enemy's leaders, troops, equipment, tactics, strengths, vulnerabilities, supply chains, and blind spots. Only by penetrating the mind of the opposing commander could one properly shape a strategy to defeat them decisively. These three key principles, deception, positioning, and knowing the enemy, formed the backbone of Sun Tzu's philosophy. He described them as being seamlessly intertwined. The more you can deceive and disorient the enemy, the easier it becomes to secure positional advantage and expose their strategic shortcomings. And the more you truly comprehend their situation, the easier it is to mislead and wrongfoot them at every turn. While Sun Tzu's philosophies and strategies may seem brilliantly simple in theory, their true power was only revealed when they were deftly applied on real ancient battlefields by his adherents. One of the most famous examples is the Battle of Beiding in 200 before Christ. The Battle of Beiding was just one of countless examples over the centuries where ancient Chinese commanders recognized the genius in the master's philosophies and implemented them for devastating effect against arrogant or unprepared opponents on the battlefield. For many centuries after Sun Tzu's life, his seminal work, The Art of War, and its impactful strategic concepts remained largely contained within Asian military circles and dynasties. It wasn't until the late 18th century that the incredible text finally began permeating Western awareness and study. Through trade relationships, increased cultural exchange, and the work of early translation pioneers, The Art of War first made inroads into European military academies and nobles' libraries. While initially viewed as an intriguing curiosity from the East, it didn't take long for Western officers and strategists to recognize the incredible depth and universality of Sun Tzu's concepts on deception, tactical positioning, and force deployment. As the industrial age birthed new tools of warfare, generals and officers schooled in Sun Tzu's teachings quickly integrated his philosophies into their planning and battlefield maneuverings. His emphasis on intelligence gathering, exploiting terrain, protecting supply lines, and leveraging seemingly weaker resources in uncommonly powerful ways became core tenets adopted into Western military doctrine. One could easily trace how Sun Tzu's influence flowed through the strategies of figures like Napoleon, Stonewall Jackson, and Norman Schwarzkopf in their most devastating campaigns and maneuvers. While the technological realities of warfare evolved rapidly, the Art of War's foundational teachings on the realms of human competition and conflict remained eternally relevant. No matter the era or arena, from the fields of ancient China to the 20th century's world wars, Sun Tzu's wisdom continued shaping history's conflicts in indelible ways once it permeated Western consciousness. His work had truly achieved a universal, timeless significance. While Sun Tzu's teachings have been widely revered, they have also faced criticism and challenges in their application to modern warfare. Some argue that the principles outlined in The Art of War are too simplistic or outdated to be truly effective in the complexities of contemporary conflicts. Others point out that Sun Tzu's emphasis on deception and cunning may clash with modern ethical and legal standards of warfare, raising questions about the moral implications of his strategies. Additionally, the rapid pace of technological advancement has introduced new challenges to the application of Sun Tzu's principles. The rise of cyber warfare, unmanned drones, and advanced weaponry has fundamentally altered the nature of conflict, prompting some to question the relevance of ancient teachings in the modern era. Despite these criticisms, many military strategists and leaders continue to find value in Sun Tzu's teachings, recognizing the need to adapt his principles to the ever-evolving landscape of warfare. As conflicts become increasingly complex, involving not just traditional military forces, but also non-state actors, cyber threats, and asymmetric warfare, the importance of strategic thinking and the ability to outmaneuver one's opponents remains paramount. Sun Tzu's emphasis on understanding the enemy, exploiting their weaknesses, and employing deception and cunning may prove invaluable in navigating the challenges of modern warfare, even if the specific tactics and technologies employed have changed. So what did you think of Sun Tzu's philosophies and their lasting impact? Do you have other favorite examples throughout history of his principles being applied effectively? Or maybe you see areas where his strategies clash with modern ethical warfare standards. Let me know your thoughts and reactions in the comments below. And if you dug this exploration of Sun Tzu's influential battlefield strategies, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth looks at history's most impactful military theorists and conflicts.